Toxic geeks where the phantoms collide. Breaking down the best, taking you for a ride. Tune in, geek out, it's the place to be. Top 10 vibes on the screen, you and me.
Narrative-driven video games have carved a unique niche in the gaming world, offering immersive experiences that blend engaging storytelling with interactive gameplay. These games transport players into rich, detailed worlds where every decision can shape the outcome of the story, from emotional journeys and thrilling adventures to complex character development and plot twists. Narrative games captivate players with their compelling tales. Today, here on the tacosandgeeks.com 10, we're going to be counting down 10 narrative video games that we feel you should play. The games that we have chosen for this list, we feel really capture the art of storytelling in the gaming industry. Each of these games offers a unique and memorable experience. Without further ado, I'm Justin, and we're going to be starting off with number 10, which is Firewatch. Set in Wyoming wilderness, this game tells a compelling story of isolation, personal discovery through the eyes of a fire lookout named Henry. It has beautiful visuals, engaging dialogue, and a mysterious narrative that create a captivating emotional journey. But that's not all. Firewatch really encourages exploration. Players are free to explore the wilderness, discover landmarks, hidden secrets, clues that really help the story move forward. It really gives you that sense of discovery, and it really adds to the gameplay experience. Not to mention, as we've talked about, it does have some emotional weight and depth with tackling the themes such as isolation, loss, human connection, and it really does provide some thought-provoking experiences. You're faced with choices that are really going to affect the story, which adds a more personal and emotional touch to it. It really also adds to a great sound design with ambient sounds of nature that's very subtle, that really helps with the haunting score depending on the scenes that you're going with. All that being said, while the ending might be divisive for some, it's still worthy to be on this list just due to the great characterization, the setting, and its original story. Firewatch definitely worthy on being on this list at number 10. Number 9, What Remains of Edith Finch. This game is a collection of short stories about a cursed family, each with its own unique gameplay and narrative style. It has a really excellent atmospheric soundtrack. The music in this game really does complement the narrative, and it does so by enhancing the emotional depth. I've always said that music plays a huge role in gaming, not just in movies, not just in television, not just in anime. Music is just as important as graphics, gameplay, and story, and the music in this game really does well. The game also once again captures more of the emotional depth from sadness to wonder. It also deals with the themes of life, death, family, fate. It dives into the complexity of human nature and what it means to deal with life and death. And it really starts to question your own type of relationships. It has a really good character study. Has some really good, unique art designs as well when it comes to the visuals, especially when you're entering the house. You're seeing this, just even the first opening shot. It looks very cinematic. Definitely worthy of the number 9 spot. Now let us head into number 8. Number 8. Number 8 is what I call a sleeper gem, an underrated gem. Not much people really talk about this game, but it definitely is worthy on being this list, and I'm going to explain why. The game is entitled Killer Frequency, and since I am a big horror person and I love horror games, this had to be on my list just from the premise alone. You are put in the role of a late night radio DJ host, and you're trying to save the callers from a serial killer. And the premise takes place in this very small town where they have very few police officers. They had to rewire the 911 calls to the radio station, so you're the one being the 911 operator, having to calm people down while still hosting your radio show. There's moments in here where your decisions are going to affect whether someone lives or where someone dies. So that is where the great audio comes into play, because the sound design is very crucial for a game like this, because you're dealing with the setting of being a radio disc jockey. You get to hear the people dying, and that for me is what makes this game chilling. It's because it's not what you see, but it's what you're hearing that adds to the nightmare of killer frequency. It also has a variety of challenging puzzles. There's some really good character development, really good banter between him and his producer. Like I said, don't let the nice, colorful graphics fool you. This game is worthy on being on this list. It has such a great narrative experience. Highly recommend this. Now it's time to go into number 7. Okay, before you decide to leave this video because I put a brand new game on a top 10 list, hear me out. Nobody Wants to Die is that damn good. It is an amazing narrative experience that you need to play. That's why I put it on the number 7 list. This game follows James Kara and his partner Sarah as they try to discover who is behind a number of serial killings. This is a wonderful game that really focuses on the theme of life and death, definitely on death, and the morality of it. It has such emotional weight, especially with James dealing with his trauma, Sarah dealing with her trauma. You start to question what is right, what is wrong. Decisions that you make really do affect the story with multiple endings. Not to mention the beautiful visuals of capturing a futuristic New York. It is absolutely stunning. Did I also mention that this is a detective story and that it makes you really feel like the detective by gathering clues, analyzing those clues, putting things together on an evidence board? Not to mention the stellar 1930s, 1940s aesthetic soundtrack that really makes it feel like you're playing through a noir film. Nobody Wants to Die is a must play. You can catch out the full review here on the channel or on the tacosandgeeks.com. Is worthy of number 7. Now let's get into number 6. Number 6, of course, this game had to be on the list. Detroit Become Human. What makes this game such a narrative must play is something that is very relatable to this day, and that is the exploration and use of artificial intelligence. That's right, this game tackles AI. It tackles such themes as AI, free will, and what does it mean to become human, with its impressive visuals, stellar voice acting, and it goes really into the philosophy of ethical questions about human identity, what it means to be alive. Is AI can be considered a living sentient being? You play as 3 androids, Connor, Kara, and Marcus, each with unique perspectives and different missions. My favorite, of course, was Connor, because I felt Connor, believe it or not, when it comes to the androids, felt Connor had a lot more weight and emotional depth and had more conflict and more trauma to deal with being a police bot. And there's also that morality that you see a lot of these narrative games try to tackle. And this one really questions the morality of dilemmas of your choices not only affect the outcome of the story, but also the fate of your characters in the world around them. So it has a lot of replay value, especially with its branching storylines and multiple endings. It offers a really high replay value, so you can visit this one over and over again. Detroit Human, definitely worthy on being on this list. Now let's get into number 5. Number 5, Until Dawn. I mean, this was an obvious choice, don't you think? Until Dawn is a horror narrative game where you are playing various characters in a branching storyline that will help influence choices. An engaging plot filled with twists and turns and the ability to shape the fate of each character with a mechanic they called the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is where every decision you make influences the outcome of the game. For example, I'm just not saying this happens in the game, but let's just say you decide to point a gun at a girl and pull a trigger and there's no bullets there. She might kind of want to just get revenge on you down the line later on in the game. So every choice that you have does affect either a player, a setting, a surrounding, and I thought it was really well done. It has atmosphere with some really impressive graphics, some really eerie atmosphere. And let's talk about the acting. Acting is really great with some realistic motion capture performances from well-known actors like a certain Bond villain, a certain person that played, I don't know, Freddie Mercury. Just, just throwing it out there. Not to mention it has multiple endings, so it has a whole lot of replayability here, and not to mention there are some cool puzzles in here that will require players to think a little bit more critical and pay attention to surroundings. So, Until Dawn, definitely worthy on this list. Let's go to number 4. Number 4. Oh! Okay, I tried. The Wolf Among Us is number 4 on this list, and we can't talk about narrative video games without talking about the Telltale series. Spoiler alert, not the only Telltale game on here. Anyway, so The Wolf Among Us, what really works for me, why I felt that this needed to be on the list above the rest, maybe above the rest, is because it sets a dark noir inspired world where fairy tale characters live in exile. You have Big B Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, as he's interacting with such characters as Little Red Riding Hood. You had the Three Little Pigs in there. So all your fairy tale characters, most of them are in this game. And just like every narrative game in here, choices matter. You are offered different multiple dialogue options with branching storylines that's going to be shaping the narrative here. But we also have give credit to the comic book art style feel of it that really captures the Fable book comic book series. And I really like how it really dived into the rich lore of this world where fairy tale characters are existing in a modern setting. The game isn't just about solving mysteries, though. There are personal struggles, character development, traumas, complex themes such as redemption, identity, morality, and it is a thought-provoking experience. And that ending has me excited for The Wolf Among Us Part 2. I think I can all say for all of us, what the hell is taking so damn long? Anyway, this was Wolf Among Us number 4. Let us go into number 3. Number 3, AI The Somnium Files. Now, some might consider this to be more on the visual novel side, but I would like to argue, yes, it does have elements of a visual novel when it comes to the dialogue and presentation here. But I will argue that this is definitely a narrative game, mainly because you is fully story based. You're able to walk around at times, investigate, solve puzzles, and it follows a really great character, Dante. And what I really like about this is that you step into the role of Detective Dante as he's investigating these series of murders. And there's a whole bunch of plot twists. It has psychological depth, emotional moments. Not to mention, it does combine puzzle solving where you have to explore the dreams of your characters. And those puzzles sometimes can be timed. So it's very crucial that you investigate everything to get the fuller picture. It has choices that make the story become more branched, which gives you multiple endings. There's various paths, so it offers a significant amount of replay value. Not to mention the characters are well crafted, each have their own backstory, personality, motivations. You're going to be immersed in this game. If you've never played this game, definitely check it out. I believe it should be on all consoles, but I got mine for the Switch, for my Switch Lite, and it looks gorgeous. Highly recommend it. Now let's head into number 2. Life is Strange is number 2, and hands down, it is a classic. Not talking about Life is Strange Before the Storm, Life is Strange 2, or the third one. I'm talking about the very first game that started it all, that's in the hearts of many people. It is now coming back full circle with the main character, Max Caulfield, with the new game coming out soon. And Life is Strange, the first one, it follows Max. She's a teenager. She has the ability to rewind time. And what makes this great is that the story itself touches on various themes: friendship, love, loss, the complexities of growing up. It is truly a slice of life game. It emphasizes on player choice, like most of the games on here, but this one really hits you if you feel like you made a wrong choice, because your choices really do cost people their lives. And the thing about Life is Strange is that you spend a lot of time with these characters, and just one mistake, one choice, or if you miss, you click the button by accident, can just change the entire landscape of the entire game. Not to mention the time rewinds and going to different various timelines to save people. It's really good. I mean, especially the setting. It's set in the fictional town Arcadia Bay, and it's very beautifully designed. And I really love the stellar performances in here. You're going to feel the performances of Chloe and Max. Such great chemistry between both leads. It is a story of emotion, tackling things such as bullying, mental health, suicidal thoughts, consequences, choices, and consequences. The game has been well received from critics and players. I mean, from its character development, storytelling, the gameplay mechanics. What more can I say about Life is Strange? But it is a must play. Get it on your PS5, your Xboxes, your Switch. I have all the games in this series. Yes, all the games in the series have their quirks, have their likes and dislikes, but the original is above all. I don't know even how the next sequel is going to top the first one to capture the feels. And I have to mention before we go to number one, the soundtrack. The music used, not just the actual composition, like listen to the piano, the strings, but the actual soundtrack of choice of songs introduced me to so many indie artists that I had to give credit to Life is Strange just for introducing me to Far Caspian and other artists that I never really got a chance to listen to until I heard their games featured song, on this game and everything else. So definitely check out Life is Strange, the entire series, but the first one is the one that you really gotta check out. Now let's go in to the king, number one. Number one, was there any doubt this game won Game of the Year for a reason? This game is to me the definitive when it comes to narrative story driven games, when it comes to having choices. The Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead, especially season one, is a masterpiece, a masterclass in game development, storytelling, everything from its story, character development, choices, and consequence mechanics. The atmosphere, the way the game is. You follow Lee, who is heading to prison when the zombie apocalypse starts, but the true character, the true main protagonist of this game is a little girl named Clementine. You fall in love with Clem the first minute you meet her in her house. Her and Lee's bond are probably the best father or surrogate father and daughter relationship we've ever had in gaming. This game not only allows you to make choices that are really going to affect the story, but what makes this one and the choices hit harder is the game allows you to bond with almost every single character you're with your group. And then seeing them die mainly because of the choices, or you're put in a situation where you have to choose one character against the other. It really hurts. And it does that really well. Like, this has to be, we talk about comic book adaptation video games. We're usually talking about Arkham. We're talking about X-Men Legends. But The Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead, really captures it all just from the way Robert Kirkman has his philosophy of don't get too attached to the characters. Not to mention the voice acting looks great. The aesthetic of the graphics, same with The Wolf Among Us, gives you that comic book art style that really enhances the experience. The game is emotional, very, very emotional. Tons of replay value when it comes to branching storylines, multiple endings. It does a hell of a job, and Clementine is the character. Lee is the character. Kenny. There's so many things you need to experience. If you have never played The Walking Dead, and I'm talking to the young ones out there, pick this up. You have the Switch, you have the Xbox, you have the PlayStation, you have Steam Deck, you have PC. You have various ways to play Telltale's The Walking Dead. Each season has its own thing, but the first season is the mother of them all. It's the masterpiece of them all. Season 2's okay. Season 2's actually pretty good. Season 3, kind of dropped the ball, but it brought it back home with season 4. Definitely check out The Walking Dead. This is, to me, the masterpiece of all narrative games. It checks all the boxes: storyline, character development, choice and consequences. It has great atmosphere. It won numerous awards. It has stellar performances. You are going to feel for these characters. You are going to cry. You might cry. It's really good. This is Justin from otakusandgeeks.com. Thank you for watching another episode of Otakus and Geeks 10. What are your top 10 narrative games? What did you think should be on this list? If there's any games on this list that we didn't mention, comment below. Let me know what you think should be on the list. Or hell, tell me what your favorite narrative game is. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Helps out the channel tremendously. We have more content on the way. And if you're watching this on otakusandgeeks.com, browse our website. Whole bunch of events coming soon. Anime NYC, Hollywood Shorts, whole bunch of stuff coming. So keep it locked here at otakusandgeeks.com. Later day.